Hello everyone, welcome to BrainyHeart. This is Evelyn Goodman and I have a very interesting colleague and a guest with me in BrainyHeart today, and I am in Hamburg, in the metropolitan wonderful city of Hamburg. Welcome to BrainyHeart, Michael Wörle.
Thank you.
Michael, would you like to just talk about yourself and introduce yourself before we dive into the world of BrainyHeart?
I'm the CEO of two companies. One is the MW Unternehmensentwicklung GmbH.
Okay.
It is a small company. We are developing companies, small companies, Mittelstand. And the other one is VUN. It is one organization, and we try to make it better that people who are responsible for companies, family-owned companies normally, that they try to create a good change from one generation to the next one, because they don't realize that they become old.
Michael, tell us about how did you end up, consulting companies and working with the companies as such? So can you just tell your background? Are you a real Hamburger, really?
No, I'm born in Bavaria.
Okay, then tell us about it a little.
It's far away for a German, not for you, because you have the worldwide view on companies. But for me, as a German, it is long distance.
Yeah. So you come actually from the south of Germany, and then can you tell us a little bit your career background until you just did this, what you're doing today?
I came to Hamburg because I wanted to study there. I studied a combined studium about economics, law, and sociology.
Wow.
It is a very good combination because you need it. If you want to change companies, you need the people and the economic and the law. You have to combine it in a good way. For a German, the law is very important.
Yeah, true.
The Germans don't want to make something wrong. So that is a good combination.
Yeah, I think
And then
so.
I stayed there and I met my wife today, and yes, I left Bavaria and never returned.
Okay. And I hope you don't regret this, really.
No, I don't regret it. I cannot return because the mentality of the northern German people is very different to the Bavarian people.
Exactly.
Or Schwaben.
Yes, exactly. The Swabians.
Swabians?
Yes.
Really? Okay. And I'm born in the Swedish part of Bavaria.
Okay.
I'm mixed, but my mother is born in Berlin, so I had the combination from the beginning.
I see. Well, then let's just get down to with my first question to you. Namely, Michael, you know the phenomenon of millennials, right? So anybody who was born after the year 2000 are called so-called millennials.
Mm-hmm.
So consulting other companies, working with the companies, you just see this phenomenon of those who are really young, millennials, and the struggle that the baby boomers have, namely your generation, understanding them. So how do you see this? So what is the biggest difference between baby boomers and so-called millennials from your point of view?
I guess it is the form to typologically some groups, but in my opinion, I guess it is not helpful to make these differences. It is like black and white people, northern part of Germany, southern part of Germany, Germans, Americans, Polish people, French.
Okay, so basically not categorizing people and putting them into boxes, you say?
Yeah, because you need people if you want to work together. You need people, they have a goal, they want to realize something, they are proactive. And the most important question is for me, do I have a contract, or I'm working with people who are proactive or reactive, or as we spoke about, passive and pro-passive. Pro-passive people are talking about the future but not realizing the future. The passive people are these who have no power to move anything. And the reactive people are moving, they try to move a lot, but they don't move something in the longer distance. So I guess the younger people I met, it's not representative because I'm not a sociologist. For me, it is the only difference is reactive or proactive, nothing else. It may be Italian guy or a German guy from Bavaria or from the northern part.
Millennial or baby boomer, you say.
Younger or elder. I would ask them, are you able to pay the price for that you are trying to get, to realize? Are you able and willing to realize a challenge and to take this chance in your life? That is the only thing what interesting me. I have 2 sons, and both sons have no own car. I guess but perhaps it's only our family. I guess not, but perhaps it's our family only. In some generations or some older people today, they would like to have a car. And in this generation, it had been a big difference because they had more siblings. My wife had 5 or 6 siblings. I had 3. We have 2 children, 2 parents, 2 children. That is a big difference because you are not used to be in contact with other people in the family. In this most educational surrounding for that what you will be used to do. And if you have it in companies and you are not used to find a compromise, to
deal with dispute.
Yeah, that is a big difference.
Okay, I mean, so you just say to wrap it up that you're not for doing a separation. BrainyHeart audience already know that our left hemisphere is always trying to categorize, put people. That's why we just did that, right? So like millennials, this work-life balance, etc. So we always categorize. So Michael Wörle just basically says, well, forget about that. Let's not categorize. Let's just try to just see the people if they're reactive or proactive. And if they want to change, or how they are changeovers or risk averse. Exactly. So this is how we should basically take a look at the people. He says, good point. Then number 3, I would like to ask this very question then. Is there a one size fit for success, Michael, for you? So
the first point is the proactivity. To building goals and to build realistic goals, and then to have the complete logical things you have to do, building structures, to create successful processes, to combine it with people who has to do work with you, to have eine gute Geschäftsidee, business model, such things. And we are working in this point in developing companies as well in the Nachfolgeregelung to create the change to the next generation, because you need some systematic to do it. You cannot do it. Oh yes, I will think about if I'm older. and then you are 70 years old and you are not old. It's okay if you're not old. You don't feel old with 70 years or 80 years. There's nothing to say against it. But not to prepare the Notfall,
the emergency,
it is irresponsible.
Correct.
I remember a company, a metal building company. They had 50 people. It is a bigger, small company, but not big. And the company was very very dependent from the entrepreneur, and he loved to sail. And one time his boat came back alone.
Oh.
So his wife and his son had to save the company, but they sold it. It wasn't prepared. And
I get goosebumps right now. Yeah, I got.
He had
really
a tough
big
lady.
Yes.
She was able to do it. But in many cases, you would not have any person in your family who are able to do it, willing to do it. They have the license, the Unterschriftenberechtigung.
Yeah, exactly. The authentication or authorization for signature.
Many things you have to regeln,
to regulate.
To regulate.
Yeah.
And if you are not prepared, that is the biggest damage for one company. It
I
is
can imagine. Yes.
not responsible. And we are saying, if you don't want to realize, to prepare the change, to make a contract with persons in your company or outside to create this process, then you should do only one thing to prepare the emergency. Correct. That's all. But that is the minimum. You have to do it. You must do it.
Yeah. Right. So this is the success recipe then when we would like to move ahead, especially with our futures. Michael, what would you recommend to a young talent who is just starting out?
Young talents sometimes don't know what they want.
Okay.
And if they don't know what they want, they cannot get what they want. It's
as simple as that. Okay.
It's very simple. But if they try to make a practicum,
a traineeship or something,
and to find one mentor, that would be very helpful.
Okay.
Sometimes the parents are that. Sometimes you find somebody in a company you only visit for a short time. Yesterday I had one conversation with a young lady, 30 years old, but she's in this company 8 years now.
Okay.
Together with a successor. And they are very close. No couple.
Okay.
But very close. And now we are creating the new structure that she can increase in the company. Her problem, very, very German problem, is that she has one education as a großen Einzelhandelskaufmann.
Okay, so yeah, kind of administrative assistant
but
graduation.
She didn't finish her studium, economic studium, and she has the problem that she's thinking she needs more certifications. And I said to her, yes, okay, in Germany, German people are thinking like that, and big companies are thinking like that because they are looking for certificates. But it is the wrong question for me. The best people are those who have no certification.
Well, I mean, to say something like this in general is also, like this is a very hard pauschalizing or statement. However, this is the way our country was or has been so far, Germany.
Yeah, Germany. Yeah.
And as you know, from in America, for example, they take a look where where they can or how they can use the resources of the person independent from what his or her background was. So, but this is changing slowly but surely in Germany, but very slowly. On the other hand, like the advice you have to, guys, I mean, if you're dear audience, BrainyHeart followers, if you are working for a SME, small and medium-sized enterprise, or a so-called KMUs, called in Germany, kleiner und mittlere Unternehmen, and or if you are working for Mittelstand, as is also an English word, meanwhile,
really?
Yes, Mittelstand is an English word, meanwhile, and so if you're working for a Mittelstand, then you should not hunt for one certificate to the next, except for you just say, I'd like to gain experience in a SME, but I'd like to move to a group later on in my later years. Then yes, start collecting certificates. However, if you're just imagining a career for yourself in SMEs, in strong SMEs, then it's not very important to collect or to run on this certificate hunting race.
It's not so important. I had one member of my staff. He was one guy who collected many certifications, and I said to him, I'm wondering about you. You did not reach any goal in your life, but you have a lot of certifications, more than I never have seen. What do you do with it? And yeah, he didn't know what he wants. So I have seen many companies who have very responsible peoples in the management team, and they often have not the right certification. It is the contradictory of the mainstream, what you are thinking and what people are telling you if you become educated, because the companies who are educating you, they want to sell her certification.
Exactly.
And they have to explain why it is important. And partially they are right.
But partially they are not.
And partially not,
Exactly.
because in the time we have a time, what is changing. We had a time in which das war der Unterschied zwischen Käufermarkt und Verkäufermarkt.
It was a buyer and seller and vendor market before.
So it changed because now we have Fachkräftemangel, and these
we're urging for specialized people. Fachkräftemangel is specialized people.
But that is the time in which entrepreneurs are challenged to make a concept to hold on their staff. They don't want to have somebody who wants to make career in the smaller companies. They want to sie ausbilden, to train them,
yes.
And then to hold them if they are good. So it is. I said to the young lady, you are thinking about to make the next Ausbildung, training, because you are thinking that you have not enough certifications, but it is the wrong question. Look for a good, safe and responsible place in this company, and then make a contract with your boss. And she said, my boss, I challenged him very often, but my boss is not understanding it, or he's not willing, or he's thinking that I'm not able to do it. And I said to her, I know from your boss that he's thinking like you, but you have only mismanagement in the communication now. So define your place, and one possibility could be you make one certification, ein Zeugnis. You write it, what you want to get now, and a second Zeugnis, what you want
testimonials,
what you want to get in 5 years, and you are writing it, and then you give it to your boss and say,
sign it.
And then you make a contract. And I will help you.
Yeah, I mean, to know, I say all the time, what was das? Wer hat Amerika entdeckt? Ich habe ein kurzes...
Columbus.
Ja, hat nicht, aber Americo Vespucci was Vespucci was an Italian guy, actually, who discovered America. Columbus was a terrible captain because he hit the road and he didn't know where he was going. He had no plan, and he finally landed in the Haiti Islands, and he thought it was America. So basically, to know, to be a captain, to have a ship doesn't mean that you are a good captain. That means that you have to know as a captain where you're going, why you're going there, and how long will it take you to get there.
So you can use Google Maps, but in this time,
at that time it wasn't really possible. So before we really ramble off, I'd like to just ask you the final question of BrainyHeart. What is more important for you, Michael, brain or heart?
You need both.
Okay.
Short.
You want to say short?
Short answer for.
Okay, so it's all about the balance, you say. Well, this is what we say in BrainyHeart as well, that it's all about the balance.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So the brain is important, refers to left hemisphere, and heart refers to right hemisphere. And without one or the other, we wouldn't be able to compass our lives in the right direction.
You are not able to manage and to make the right decisions if you use only your brain.
Correct. Yeah. So I mean, this is the idea of the robots, basically, right? So because we are as human are unique because we can influence our thoughts with our right hemisphere, right? So there's this is very, very important for us to grasp. Otherwise, I usually show a picture, then I can just do that after the interview to you. So that this is the difference between the machines and us. Normally, in an interview, in an assessment interview, I sometimes ask people or show them two pictures. The first picture shows a train, and 4 people are working on that lane, and you have to hit the rail so that the train can go to the other direction. Only one person is working on that railway. So 1 against 4 people dying. So then there, at that moment, in that picture, your brain decides on the left hemisphere, rational decision, 1 against 4. I certainly would say 4 rather than 1. Yeah. In the second example, again, you see the train, and 4 people are working on the railway, but this time there is a little small building, a kind of tower, and then over the tower there's a guy looking with a binocular to the far further to the field, and you are behind that guy. You have to push that guy from the tower on the railway to stop the train so that the 4 people can survive. And when I show this picture to the people, they say, would you just push him down? And then immediately in that very moment we stimulate the right hemisphere, namely the emotions. Certainly then the questions comes like ethical questions. And some candidates are very smart. They just tell me, well, it depends on who that is.
If it is your father.
I mean, some people just without becoming really political over here, but some people just also say the world leader names, and then they say if this is that world leader or that world leader, then I would just push him and in front of or to the railway, and some I don't. So well, this is basically what makes us unique as human beings, so that we can use our right hemisphere, which is actually a faster processor. Thank you very much for this interview, Michael. Greetings from Hamburg, one of the most beautiful cities in Germany, and Schönefeld, part of Hamburg. And I have been together with Michael Wörle, an interesting personality, an interesting input from a baby boomer perspective. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.